Chefs of Reddit, what are some red flags people should look out for when they go out to eat? Former health inspector here. If there's a self-serve soda machine, go ahead and take a napkin around the inside of the Sprite clear soda available nozzle. If your napkin comes out pink, brown, or orange, skip the soda. A Sprite nozzle should come out clear. If it's pink or orange, then it's slime mold. It's actually a bacteria. But that's what we called it. If it's brown, it's likely cola. But if the cola nozzle was put on the Sprite dispenser and is still brown, you know the nozzles aren't being cleaned properly. Also, go ahead and look closely at the ice chute. I see green algae in those a lot. You might have to be a chef to recognize this. But my red flag is going into a busy restaurant and noticing none of the tables have food, or not many customers are yet eating. This usually means the kitchen is going down in flames. One time I noticed this and could see some food slowly stacking up in the window. But no orders coming out. I mentioned it to the server and he replied, "I wouldn't suggest ordering food." He brought our drink check and we left. He was tipped well for his honesty. Too many menu choices. Dirty restrooms. Server staff seems mad or anxious. You just described a good Asian restaurant. Overworked staff. What cleaning jobs do you think are getting Mr. Staff far too stretched and or unhappy at work? We avoid restaurants that are constantly having staff turnover for this exact reason. There is a place here. Open less than a year, constantly advertising for staff. Right now he has 7 positions open out of maybe 15. If it is an ongoing issue, it is probably mismanagement. Unhappy employees handling food just makes me uncomfortable, to say the least. Salt shaker. If the holes are clogged and the top is dirty, that thing has been refilled 100 times without washing. Ask where your oysters come from. If they don't know, you don't want them. Works for most seafood. Excuse me, but can you tell me where your clams come from? The ocean. Please don't refer to our waitresses that way, sir. It's incredibly rude and demeaning. I was employed by a national pest control service, and the salespeople told me if the dining room is dirty or gross, do yourself a favor and walk out, cause their kitchen is gonna be much dirtier. There are also roaches at expensive restaurants, the same as there are at cheaper places. It's the restaurants that don't clean kitchens properly that attract pests and have continual problems. I was having lunch with some co-workers at a Chinese buffet and we all saw a sea cockroach run across the table. I said, at least we know the food isn't going to contain pesticides. I've heard that if you actually smell fish at a sushi restaurant, it's in your inside's best interest to hightail it out of there. Sushi is another one for when in doubt. There's no doubt. If it smells like trout, get the F out. If it smells like salmon, keep on slamming. Does it sound like it could be 2 or more restaurants? Example. Sushi and pizza at the same place. They can't do either well. How dare you insult Kentucky Hut Robbins? Not a chef, but worked at a KFC for a while. So here's a KFC specific thing. There are 2 towel colors for cleaning use at KFC franchises. At least in American ones. No idea about others. There are yellow towels, which are intended for surfaces that cooked foods will touch, and blue towels, which are only to be used in raw chicken areas. This is to prevent cross-contamination. Cooked chicken never touches raw chicken areas, and cooked and raw areas are never cleaned with the same towels. The thing to look out for? Raw chicken areas are usually not visible from the front counter. At least in most locations I've seen. If you see a blue towel, don't eat there. Not a chef. And more a green flag. If you're eating ethnic food and all the customers are of the ethnicity in question, then the food is probably going to be freaking awesome. Similarly, if you're on vacation anywhere touristic, find a restaurant that has locals in it. It's better and cheaper than the ones that are full of tourists. I've had this backfire once. A couple years ago in Venice, We wandered the smallest streets in the outskirts of the tourist area, searching for that hole-in-the-wall establishment to eat something genuinely Italian, and found one that was small and reasonably packed with locals. That is the place where I had the worst pizza of my life. Seriously. I'm reasonably sure that we stumbled upon a money laundering place disguised as a restaurant. My dad got the Frutti di Mare pizza, and it was a margherita with a lump of slimy grey sludge in the middle of it. The only other tourist there was a German girl, and I can't even replicate the face she made at her pasta, of some description. I don't dare call it a fettuccine alfredo course for all I know. It could have been anything. The best way I can phrase it is astonished disgust. Like my mouth must be broken. There is absolutely no way that this is this bad. Rats in the restaurant cooking food. What if I wanted a rat burger? Go to the sewers beneath Taco Bell. In addition to a super large, diverse menu being a huge red flag that you're getting frozen meals run through the microwave. Watch for no substitutions. If the place makes its own food, they can sub virtually anything for anything else. While they may try to play it up as our food is perfect and we refuse to change it on moral grounds, it's almost always a sign of this was made 2 months ago and all we do is reheat it. This can go either way. What you're saying can be correct, but there's more to it. I used to work at a place that had no substitutions, but they made everything to order and as close to from scratch as possible. Why did they have the policy? Because during the rush, people would come in and sub something so much that it wasn't even a menu item anymore. This would throw off food costs sometimes, and make tickets drag out of the kitchen a lot. You know what makes people be more than anything else? Slow food on their lunch break. It got to be so bad that the owners, who owned a number of restaurants, bailed on it and sold the place. I went to an IHOP, and there were rats crawling on the walls. So I told the waitress about it, and she said what? Again. She could have covered that up in a better way. I was really hungry so I just moved to another table. But those pancakes were so nasty. I still love IHOP, but I just won't go to that one next time. A green flag is an open kitchen where you can see everything getting cooked. There's an open kitchen diner where I live and the food is killer. Ever been to a Waffle House? Waffle House is the finest eating establishment. If you ever order something with crab, always ask what kind of crab is it? Even though it might sound like a snobby question, it will reveal whether it's canned or not. My favorite answer when I went out one time was "What are you talking about?" Clearly indicating it was not fresh. Or, you know, except canned because I live 1,000 miles from the ocean. Read Anthony Bourdain's book. He runs down a bunch. Brunch is just using up leftovers from the rush of the weekend. Generally worse quality food. Smaller menu is better. Mondays and Thursdays are typical new inventory days. Eat these days for freshest food. Only order shellfish from a shellfish restaurant. Know what a restaurant does well, and order that. There were a lot. Read his book. R.I.P. Tony. He emphasized to never to eat fish on a Monday, because nothing can be ordered over the weekend and there's a high chance you'll get whatever was still left over from Friday's delivery. And then many years later, he said that the book had become outdated, and the food supply chain had improved enough that you probably don't need to worry too much about it. I have worked for many restaurants and been to many others. If the place has low lighting, unless it's intentional, roughly no customer activity, floors aren't clean, place smells bad, booth seats move, drinks that taste funny, not a dog joke, this is a sign that they don't clean their soda fountains or tea urns, and low quality customer service are all signs that you should look out for if you're going to eat. If a restaurant is poorly maintained, the food might not be of good quality either. Especially in fast food places where you can get your own drink. You can usually glance and tell when the soda tea nozzles haven't been cleaned in a while. Actual former chef here. These comments saying, "Don't eat whatever food on a day of week because it's leftovers. This is called utilization. Specials are just that. Things that we'd rather sell than throw out. Those of us who actually know what we're doing carefully cool down and store things so they have as much menu life as possible. Only an idiot would throw away perfectly good, saleable food if it didn't sell on the first night. Late to this one, but as an ex-waiter I can't stand seeing waiting staff grabbing clean glasses at the top when handling them. Same. Red flag for me is seeing wait staff do too many things and touch things they shouldn't or touch in the wrong way. If you're gluten free, for whatever reason, please don't go to a from scratch Italian restaurant. Please. There's literally nothing we can do to get that shit out of anywhere. Thanks to the flour. It permeates the air. See, this is what's pissing me off about where I currently work. We do pizzas from fresh, and every check has one. But we offer gluten-free bases because sales. And I'm expected to make GF food in a kitchen that's been pelted with flour for 7 hours when we're busy. Nonsense.